Shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Rachapadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Akiam. Alright, and I just wanted to do one more quick video before the Sabbath hit, okay? We're just at the last few moments of the sixth day, okay? Sabbath's about to roll. We're just going to get a few more leaks in before the Sabbath, okay? So I'm going to be responding to this video right here, man. Let me just play it.
Bantu, Biblical Israelites, the promised land of milk and honey, our bound to land. And Tatanzambi said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward, from all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Genesis chapter 13, verse 14 to 16, KJV. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Most High thy Nzambi, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For the Most High thy Nzambi brought thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depth that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines, and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness. Thou shalt not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayst dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Most High thy Nzambi for the good land which he hath given thee. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 6 to 10. There is no biblical nor geographic explanation as to why the land of Canaan, also known as the Promised Land, should not be in Africa when Ham, the father of Canaan, is often regarded as the African. All Hamites are black and not the other way around. Yes, the descendants of Phut, Mizraim, Cush, and Canaan are all Africans, blacks, dark skin, but so are the descendants of Shem and Japheth. The world was originally populated by black people only. If you don't believe me, do your own research. Simply travel the world and see for yourself that the indigenous population of the entire world are black, aka melanated people. Now, if Ham's descendants inherited the hottest part of the world, which is northern Africa, stretching all the way to the so-called Middle East, area within Sahara deserts, as said in Jubilees 8, and Canaan, one of his sons was not happy with his portion of the Middle East for being too barren. He then took a portion of Shem, a land not hot and not cold, at the center of the universe, as described in the book of Jubilees. The same land which the Israelites took back after Egyptian exodus, as per the book of Joshua. The same land that's also known as the middle of the earth, with mountain ranges and great rivers, animals of all kinds, biblical, and partaking most of the original human population. The same land which Israelites were enslaved from and taken into ships to the four corners of the world, as per Deuteronomy 28. The same land beyond the rivers of Cush, where descendants of the Most High shall bring him offerings. The same land which Joel chapter 3 verse 2 prophesied would be partitioned among wolves, Caucasians, and its people be sold to the four corners of the world. How then is it that today we're looking for the Israelites and the land thereof in the so-called Middle East, so-called modern Israel, a fake land and a fake people with a fake language, invented in 1948 by the imperialists and satanists who took crafty counsel to destroy the people of the Most High. Revelation.
Okay, so I'll end it right there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into the book of Deuteronomy, the precept that he quoted in the first part. That's Deuteronomy 8:6 to 10. Okay, so this is the book of Deuteronomy 8:6 to 10. Therefore, Thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahweh thy power to walk in his ways and to fear him. For Yahweh thy power bringeth thee into a good land, and a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless Yahweh thy power for the good land which he hath given thee. Okay, and that is basically what he was going into, that the Most High promised to Abraham. I don't know where he's getting this word in Zambi from, okay, because that's not in the scriptures. Right, the Most High is not in Zambi, or it doesn't have a title of Nzambi. Okay, so basically, what you have is that there is this doctrine out here that is floating around talking about the land of Israel is actually in the land of Ham, which is Africa. More specifically, the southern to central part of Africa, okay? Because you have some jakes out here that truly believe that, the ancient people in the back when we were in the Holy Land, the ancient time, the forefathers, were actually living in Africa instead of, the Middle East, which of course you could say that technically the Middle East and Africa are the same region, but what we're speaking about right now, we're speaking about what the designations that Esau has given it in order to stop the confusion. So basically, what they are saying is that the Middle East, okay, the Fertile Crescent, the Levant, where the Arabs are right now, where the fake Jews are right now, where the Palestinians are right now, is not the true Holy Land, rather the southern region in Africa, where the South Africans, the Angolans, okay, all these various African nations, okay, that for the most part are majority Jake, okay, that is actually where the original land of Israel is, and basically it stems from this belief that, okay, first and foremost, the world is actually, or rather the modern day globe is actually upside down because Esau changed the globe upside, because Esau changed the directions. Okay, how do I say it now? The magnetic polarities. Okay, and he reversed it. Okay, that the world that literally made the world upside down. So basically, what I think is that all the magnetic poles, all the magnetic directions are reversed. So south is north, west is east. Okay, saying things like, okay, the land of Israel is east of Egypt. So if you turn the map upside down, okay, Africa is no longer west of Egypt, but rather east of Egypt, okay. And which of course, which of course you already know that this doctrine is completely off, okay, because first and foremost, how can first and foremost, that's not scriptural. And you saw the precepts that this individual that made that video was bringing out. He was going into the book of Jubilees. He was breaking down, the book of Job, the book of Revelation, the book of Psalms completely wrong. He was going off, man. And even more so to compass it into everything, he was reading out of the book of the Jubilees. And that is where this confusion comes from. And you see him referring to the Most High, how about Shimi Oshai, okay, as in Zambia. And what I'm going to do, I don't actually know what that word means, so we'll look it up together so we can get more edification concerning that. There's no reason why we should be out here, man, talking about Nzambi. That's not even Hebrew, man. That's not even Hebrew, okay? So this is the word Nzambi, okay? Okay. We'll use the Wikipedia since it will be easier to just get it. So Nzambi are Mpungu. Nzambi and Mpungu is the Congolese name for a high creator god. The idea of such a god spread from Central Africa into other Congo-related religions. So basically, what you have is that he's dabbling in slight paganism, okay? Because this Nzambi is going into, okay, the Congolese religion. It will be as the same as me calling the Most High Yahweh Shimi Oshai Chineke. That's going into the Igbo mysticism, okay, Igbo pagan worship with different pantheons of gods and things like that, okay. That's what this is actually going into, okay. So basically, this guy is completely going off. What we're going to do is we're going to prove that, okay, the land of Israel is actually not, okay. Which of course you don't even really need to do that, okay. Just go to any modern map and you can clearly see it, okay. Esau did not twist shit up, okay. Esau did not, completely reverse the polarities of the compass, so like the cardinal points. That's what I'll call it from now on: northwest, east, and south. In order to make it more difficult for us to know where the true land of Israel is. Okay, because you go into history, you go into relics, you go into every single detail you actually want to go into, you find out that okay, the land of Israel is okay in the Middle East. Okay, because all the relics are there, all the evidence and all the proofs are there. Okay, from the mount, from the journey in Egypt, going through Mount Sinai, even into all the way up to all right the actual Holy Land, the land of the Canaanites. Okay, what other evidence is there? You can see that if the world is turned upside down, then yeah, Egypt actually is. Then yeah, Africa is actually okay the Holy Land. Okay, then how did the Romans get to you know the land of how did Romans get to the land of Israel? Okay, how is it that there was a war between the king of the north, okay, Daniel the 11th chapter, the king of the north and the king of the south, okay, talking about the war between Ptolemy and Antiochus, okay, how did the Romans conquer Israel and were in control of Israel, and the Israelites had to flee into Egypt? Because now we're going into that, okay, when the scriptures talk about fleeing, okay, to the east, okay, fleeing to the mountains. Why would the Israelites run to Egypt? Okay, run through Egypt and go, run through, run into Egypt, okay, in order to flee from Roman persecution in 70 AD. These are the kind of questions that you should start asking yourself, because if the land of Israel truly was in Africa during that time, okay, the Romans wouldn't be able to conquer it the way they did, and the Romans wouldn't be able to persecute our people the way they did. And the journeys of the Apostle Paul, okay, it shows you that these niggas are probably most likely Old Testament type Israelites, man. Because once again, the journeys of the Apostle Paul, then how did they happen? How was the Apostle Paul going through the provinces of Greece if the land of Israel was actually in Africa? Okay, why don't you break that down? Why don't you explain all these details? Because when you start getting into the geographical aspect of the scriptures, okay, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't match up. Okay, so now let's do this. Let's do this. We'll start with this land of milk and honey. Okay, because because you think about Jake, man, Jake is all over that whole African non, all over that whole African madness, man. They are so super into the this whole Africanism. Okay, the land of Ham is great and all. Africa is a great land. It's a fertile land, but there is no land that is more fertile and more perfect than Israel. Okay, but you Jakes out here are getting confused by one thing. The reason why the Holy Land isn't beautiful, okay, isn't a oasis in the desert, which is the Middle East, is because of look who is ruling in the Holy Land. How do you think that place can be fertile? Okay, I will start with I'll read this and I'm going to go to the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter. And you already know what I'm going to get. You already should know what I'm going to get from there, because I love bringing that precept out. Exodus 3, verse 8. Exodus 3, verse 7. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Okay, now, and this is of course going into the Holy Land, which is the land of Israel, which the land had to be, you have to cross through. Moses had to cross through the Red Sea, had to cross through Mount Sinai. This is basic Bible knowledge, man. And the Red Sea that the scriptures was talking about, and let's get that. The Red Sea the scriptures was talking about wasn't the Nile, okay? Because if you ask these dudes, they'll tell you that, oh, well, that was the river Nile. They didn't cross a river, okay? They crossed the whole sea, okay? We'll get that as well. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 10. And I will start from... Okay. Yeah, it is. I went to the wrong one. Okay. So this is the book of Exodus 14, verse 20. I want to start from the top. Okay, I want to get the whole process. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Let me see. Okay, I'll start from no, I'll start from the main point. So this is the book of Exodus 14, and I'll start from verse 15. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And of course, this isn't actually the river Nile, okay? This is going into, the actual Red Sea, okay? Which our people were, and it's like I'm trying to remember whether it was the Red Sea or the Black Sea, but yeah, our people crossed through, okay, this sea in order to leave the border, in order to leave Egypt and go into the Holy Land, okay? So continuing on. Exodus 14, verse 17. And I beheld, and I behold, I will harden the heart of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his host, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the angel of the Most High, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went before their face and stood behind them. And it came to pass, and it came between them. So like Exodus 14, verse 20. And it came between them, the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that one came not near the other all night. So the Most High was even preventing the Egyptians from actually going to, from actually meeting our people or intercepting our people before, he brought, before he parted the seas and allowed them to walk through it, okay? So the Egyptians could have actually caught up to our people if it wasn't for the Most High's intervention. But anyway, Exodus 14, verse 21. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Jehovah caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And this is showing you that the Most High to part, the sea, which is I believe the Red Sea, okay, in order for our people to leave the land of Egypt and go into the Holy Land. And if you go into a map, okay, I will do that, of course. We'll get all that, okay. The map of Egypt's Red Sea. Because of course you have to go into a little bit of geography to get the full understanding of this. And this is basically what I'm going into. This is basically what we're going into, okay. So here you see this one isn't really that bright. Let me try this one. And you see it right here. Alright, this one is better. You see it right here, okay. That's the Nile, okay. The Eastern Desert. You see Mount Sinai and the Gulf of Suez, okay. Suez Canal, okay. And this is the Red Sea. And this is what the Most High parted in order for our people to cross through it and enter into the Holy Land, okay. I'm trying to remember if it was the Gulf of Suez or I believe it was the Gulf of Suez that got parted, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that, okay. And this is showing you the actual map, and this is east, okay, east of Africa, okay, and you can clearly see right here the Eastern Desert, okay. Before you actually go into the Holy Land, so what I'm going to do, I want to get this precept that I actually said that I was going to get, and I'll go into more, okay. The last piece of information I want to get before I put out this video, because there isn't even really anything much to speak concerning this, okay. You already know that it's off just from watching the video, that this doctrine does not make any sense, okay. So let me start with this. Okay. Now let me just type it in the scriptures. Let's start in the search engine. So we'll get that. Okay. So this is the book of Isaiah 24. When I'm blind. Isaiah 24 verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Okay, that's right. Because you should already know that, according to the scripture, that if you are not doing the right thing, okay, according to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the land, okay, especially His holy land, will not give you her strength. Okay, let's get that. Let's get that. Let me. Alright. I want to start from the top where you talked about keeping the laws. Okay, so you have to bear with me because this is going to probably be very, very long. So this is the book of Leviticus 26, verse 1. Ye shall make you no idols nor graven images, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it. For I am Yahweh your power. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield her fruit. That's right. And that's showing right there that, you know, the elements are in control of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. The harvest is in the harvest. I said elements are in control. I mixed that up, Salakia. Got a little excited. Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is in control of the elements. Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is in control of the harvest. He's in control of the seasons. He's in control of the fruits and the plants and the trees and the growing of them. So it's the most high, as the scriptures say, okay, both spiritually, both in the soil, both in every single thing. He is the one that giveth the increase. Okay. So of course, so that's why you Jakes out here, man. Do the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay. Follow the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and you'll get that increase. Okay. So now let's continue on. Leviticus 26 verse 5. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time. And ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And I will give you peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. And ye shall eat old, and ye shall eat old store, and bring forth the old because of the new. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you, and will be your power, and ye shall be my people. I am Yahweh your power. I am Yahweh your power, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye should not be their bondmen. And I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright. Okay, and this of course is going into, if we keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, then we'll be able to enjoy the holy land and enjoy the fruits of the holy land. Okay. And the same goes for the heathen that are inhabiting that holy land as well, because they have refused. Let's just read it. Let's read it. Leviticus 26 verse 14. But if ye will not hearken unto me, and do not do will not do all these commandments, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning, now let me get this word, age, or ag. It's okay, I don't know what that word. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Let me just get it. So it's a cool word, the burning ag, quadahat, and it's rare for Esau to actually use the OG Paleo Hebrew, quadahat. Okay, and the word is fever. I will get the root as well. Okay, The root is kwada, kwada, to be kindled, to kindle. Okay, so basically, the I think what it will basically be, and this is just me speaking as a man, is when your temperature goes up whenever you are sick, and that's what this is actually going into. Okay, so continuing on, I was reading burning ag. Where that go? Okay, okay, so now Leviticus 26, verse 17. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron, and your earth as brass, and your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. And if you walk contrary unto me, and do not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sins. And that's right, okay. So because there is no righteousness in the land of upright, in the land of righteousness, okay, that is why the Holy Land right now is barren. Okay, when our people are restored to that land, when we are following the laws, statutes and commandments in the land which He had given us, which is the land of Israel. Okay, no need to explain where the geographical location of that land is. If the land will be perfect, it will be bountiful. Okay, you know how the land was under King Solomon. And even the scriptures tell you, man, that silver was like it was like regular stone in that land. Silver was as abundant as stone, regular stones. Okay, they are just normal rock stones in the land, to show you how how much prosperity our people were enjoying under a righteous rulership, and when we were right with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and we will be in those times again in the kingdom. Okay, but the main thing I was just trying to get is that the reason why the Holy Land isn't as prosperous and as bountiful as it's supposed to be, is because the wicked are in rulership. And you know what the scriptures say. Okay, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn because he is a man of destruction. He is as death and can never be satisfied. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to get this as well. Okay, because the scriptures always give you the exact geographical location of the Holy Land. So that's what I want to bring out right now. Okay. So let me look for it. I think it's from Egypt onto the border of I forgot where the border stops at. You have to bear with me. Oh yeah, down to Beersheba. That was how the border starts. Let me start from here. Okay, this is going into um we'll use this, then we'll use this. So this is the book of Joshua 15 verse 1. This then was the lot of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin southward was the uttermost part of the south coast. And that's right. And that's all we need to get about that, because basically the land of Israel was east of Edom, east of the Mount Seir, which is modern day Petra. Okay, and you can go into a map. I don't even need to do that. You can go into a map and check for yourself where the Mount Seir, where the land of where Mount Seir, where Petra is today, and that's where you know where the geographical location of the land of Israel is as well, because Because basically, by saying that the land of Israel is in Africa, you're also saying that what the land of Esau, Edom, okay, the so-called Edom, red man, the Edomites were also, you know, in Africa as well, because they shared they shared the land with our people, okay, and they shared they had a border separating each other, okay. Which of course is all going to, witchcraft and paganism, and this is all about this whole Pan-Africanism thing, that the world originated in the eastern part of Africa. And all this is going into, okay. This is all part of paganism, and this is deception that Esau, a stumbling block that Esau has created for our people in order to deceive them into thinking that, oh well, the Holy Land is in Africa, the Holy Land is in Africa. But that doesn't make any sense, because a lot of the a lot of the so-called Africans you see are actually Israelites, okay, Jake, okay. Even though the scriptures say that the Most High would they would scatter us throughout the four corners of the earth and separate us, and make and basically scatter us and kick us out of the Holy Land, okay. And the Holy Land will be inhabited by the heathen, okay. And it will be majority, in other words, it will be only, it will be, you have Jakes, of course, you have Israelites, of course, but the lands will be, the lands will be inhabited by the heathen and not their original inhabitants, the Israelites, okay. And everybody knows that, most of the countries here in Africa are majority Jakes, so it can't be, rather, it can't be Africa that is the Holy Land, okay. It can't be Africa that is the Holy Land, okay. So this is just going into this folly of Africa being the Holy Land a little bit. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Racha Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit, I hope you Akim and you are caused or edified. Shalom.